Hey YouTube, Lawler here as always with some RLCS roster change news. If you guys want to stay up to date, best thing you can do is always hit subscribe down below. It helps me out immensely. And while you're down there, check out the RLCS roster document I have made. I try to update it as frequently as possible. We're finally back from Paris Games Week with Flip and Spin, where we went and competed in another Super OLE banner. If you guys would like to hear more about that, let me know in the comments down below or stop by the stream. We're going to update you guys kind of on some general news that's been going on, as well as some other things. There is some follow-up videos we'll also be having because they deserve their own dedicated video to talk about kind of the current state of the esport and a lot of awful takes on the timeline that we're going to do some clarification for to hopefully provide some insight. With that in mind, first one that we're going to be talking about is in regards to the RMC roster. There's been a lot of conversations about RMC in regards to, hey, she's out, Chronic in. But the reality is there is a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of times that while people think they are locked in, a lot of these players are starting to be a little bit more intelligent about things rather than committing too early. They're truly testing out every single option. One that's notorious for that is Nas. Nas, who you're going to hear talking about a lot, has been trying out with literally anyone and everyone, as he should, as he is a very sought after player in the space. There's a kind of conversation regarding that LJFK roster and where he may be going, and they are between like three players of Hoxer, Nas, and I forget the third, and Chronic as the other. And that's kind of the priority is, you know, whoever for one of these players can get that spot, that's where they want to go first. And if not, they've got some backup opportunities. The reality is, though, when you start looking at these, there's a couple teams that are forming in the back burner, teams that may not be in consideration or ones that have been rumored. There's a lot of teams that I think you're starting to see that have potential, because I think NA is wide open. I think as of right now, NA, most people are looking at either the G2 team, which may become the former G2 team. We'll talk about that later. Make sure you guys hit subscribe so you don't miss out on that. We've also got the FK, LJ third, whoever that third may be. And then outside of that, people are kind of like, what is going to be the top of NA? We genuinely do not know. So one that is formed that's kind of been this leftover type mentality has been rumored, and it is with Roldiz coming back as a coach. Okay, now this is a rumor. This is not confirmed, but the conversation around Gyro and Andy joining the Deleted Gaming organization has been talked about for a little bit here, and they aren't sure on who their third is, but a little bit of insight that can be provided is if they are bringing in Roldiz as their coach, there's a couple players that come to mind. Who is close with Roldiz? Who does Roldiz live with? Who are people in that area? I would like to think Arsenal. I think Arsenal would be a decent third that still provides some notoriety. Can Deleted put that into their pocketbook? Can they afford all this? I don't know. There is a lot of up and down opinion on Roldiz after the FaZe situation that went down. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to stop by the stream. We don't need to air it out here, but I do think people deserve second chances, and hopefully the maturity has come and a little bit more of like self-realization about the way that things were approached, and it's a fresh start. So who knows how that one will go. But with Andy and Gyro, my assumption is if you look at thirds, why not the roommate of the coach? We'll see how things go. Overall, I'm not sure. I'm sure they're trying out a bunch of different options, and we've seen them try out a couple different options based on the rumors that Achilles has put out. But I would not be surprised if it's Andy, Gyro, Arsenal with Roldiz as coach. We'll have to wait and see on how things play out. Again, none of this officially confirmed. There's a chance that this duo isn't even a possibility. You don't know. There is a lot of talented players out there like Chicago and stuff that are still available, but we'll talk about that in a second. Up next, over in Europe, we've got the roster that was Alpha, Itachi, and Oski rumored to be potentially being picked up by Ninjas in Pajamas, which I think a lot of us are pretty happy about. Is obviously with the South America situation, a lot of teams kind of mixing and matching and trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do next. I do like the fact that NIP is considering sticking around despite all the negativity that we're seeing in the space. Again, we will talk about that in a future video because it is way too much to break down in one video. So make sure you guys don't miss out on that one. But NIP sticking around, I think, is pretty dope. If they do end up doing so, I think they would get a lot of good representation with this trio if that is the case. But in a follow-up conversation as well, there is a chance that trio does not stick anymore. Even though they had locked in about a week or two ago, due to tryouts and how scrims and stuff are going, it feels like a little bit of uncertainty with it. And because of that, they are potentially trying out thirds. Most recently, they have tried out Nas. So they went from being like, this is our team, we're going to commit to it, we're going to practice for 2 weeks, things are going to go well, we're going to build. They have a little bit of hesitancy, and now we're like, well, let's try out other options. Nas is one. I wouldn't be surprised if Rise is another opportunity there, depending on what he wants to do, because there is a lot of conversation right now with Rise potentially going to the Archie and Joyo duo. Again, things open in the air all around. Alongside that, there's been some conversation that has been happening with Achilles in his own Discord and stuff of that nature. Some of the key factors are, is there a chance Hawks are teams with Yoris and Oli? And he's like, yeah, of course, there is that possibility. As for the current duo, there is Nolly and Kofor that have been playing a lot together. And it seems like the most realistic is Chicago as their third. That is part of the conversation with that one. On top of that, there's been a lot of topics about what is the percentage chance of the LJFK thing. And I think this is kind of the reality of things, is where people are keeping their options open. Number one, Justin apparently had a opportunity to play with him and he declined. For LJFK, he's like, no, I don't want it. I think we can make a lot of assumption as to why. I think probably the more definitive answer is Shopify is treating him very, very well. And because of that, he's probably happy with his team and the financial backing he is getting, because I know he's being paid a lot. So because of that, Justin's like, you know what? I'm happy. I'm secure in my spot. I've got an organization. Life is good. I'm being paid probably more than everybody else. Not going to mess that up. As for the other side of things, I do like the fact that people aren't just seeing the namesake and being like, wow, FK, LJ are both super talented. That's what I want. They're keeping their options open. So with those three kind of going through the ropes, I have a lot of respect for the young guns that are saying this is an opportunity and this is a chance. And it is going to be on FK and LJ to come forth and be like, hey, we want you. This is the one we want to commit to, and then seeing what the response is from there. I would not be surprised if they've done that with Nas already. I, again, have gotten to see Nas play firsthand. I think he's probably one of the better rookies, I should say. He played for M80 last year, but he's one of the new up-and-coming players that I think is just an absolute stud. And the fact that he hasn't fully committed, and you see, if you go look through this document, where Nas is all tried out, pretty much everywhere. So keeping his options open, I do have a lot of respect for that. It's very, very intelligent. Originally, Rise was rumored to be potentially going to the FK LJ conversation, but that has become less of a talk as of late. So very interested to see on how that one goes. Energy definitely, well, it's weird. Energy has the money, but they don't. They actually operate in the red pretty poorly. They are not doing well as an organization, to my knowledge, but they're still spending way too much and getting away with it. So we'll see what happens there. Either way, a lot of crazy stuff across the board and what is happening. Just as a reminder, as always, difference between confirmed and rumored. A lot of these are rumored. These are speculation. These are based upon what people are seeing in scrims. There is no guarantee these are going to fill out. There's no guarantee that these contracts are going to go through. There's no guarantee that these things will be solidified. They are just being talked about. They're being theory crafted about. And that's more so what I'm interested in. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Based upon some of the rumors and some of the things going on, what do you guys feel is going to be a good team? A team that can stand a fighting chance? Because at the end of the day, all these teams are trying to be top 4 and go to the major, because no one wants to fight that last chance qualifier, because it's going to be absolutely terrifying. Again, I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date on what is the current conversation going on around these things. Just know they change on a day-to-day basis. And as I record these, sometimes I can't get these recordings out as fast as I would like to, because I'm either busy doing something or otherwise. But just know, like, with a lot of these teams, with a lot of the things that are going on, you have no idea who is going to fill in or what is going to happen. You don't know, hey, maybe this player is trying out, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I kind of like this other opportunity better. And they changed last second, because sometimes there's an org that's enticing them, or a contract, or a pay. You just never know. So with that in mind, that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. Stop by the stream, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.